Hey guys, just finished watching Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 13, Shadow of Death, The Book of War. This episode, I'm not mistaken, is the season final, although it says 14 episodes here on IMDb, but that doesn't make sense, so pretty sure it's the season final. I mean, the way they end in this episode is really cool. It ends, let's get into it. We'll get to the ending at the end. So we start off with a bunch of flashbacks throughout this episode of Gamby kind of warning Alvin Pierce, Jefferson's father, and finding young Jefferson after he's discovered, or his powers are manifested type thing. Gamby then tells Jennifer that her Khalil is gone. He's not the same person whatsoever, and it's quite interesting with that. It was quite cool. I mean, she has to move on with him. Although it would have been nice to see a scene with her powers are active, her versus Khalil, just a one-on-one, and her actually kind of maybe not killing him, but her kind of like saying we're done. Like there's nothing. Like her kind of getting over him and kind of seeing that he's completely gone and it's nothing. But, Wales is lapdog pretty much. And I think that's kind of, it would have been cool to see a fight between the two of them. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we get that next season, since we did get this confirmed for season 2. But the thing is, this was not, when they had filmed this, they didn't think they were getting it. They were not sure, so they had to pretend that they was only going to get season 1, right? So I think I like the way they went with that. And, the Wales kind of, and then Wales wants to take out Martin Proctor, and he ends up doing that tries to do it throughout the episode. Wales ends up sending Lala to the ASA with a bomb inside of him. That's pretty cool scene there. And he blows up, so I guess Lala's dead for good now. Jefferson finally wakes up without his powers. Of course, he would wake up without his powers. The ASA finds Gamby's hideout, which was pretty easy for them to find. I mean, it's like, oh, there's one place we can't see, so it's clearly there. It was kind of, I don't know. Gamby was kind of should have had a better place. Gamby should have had a better place, maybe underground type thing, or I don't know. It was just too easy for them to find. It was kind of a silly place for him to hide. He couldn't hide himself better, with all his knowledge and stuff. He couldn't hide himself, and we still, if this being the season final, we still don't get how Gamby knows all this. I mean, yes, he used to be working for the ASA and all that stuff, but he's no longer being funded by them. He's no longer doing this. So how does he afford a secret cabin that's out there and just sits there? Where did he get all this money for all this stuff? Where was he paid $1 million a year for the couple of years he was working for, for the ASA? I mean, how long was he working for the ASA until he blew the whistle? He blew the whistle when he found out about what they were doing right away, is what it looks like. So he was there working a year or two. Let's say he was working at most 3 years for the ASA. Was he paid $1 million a year for that job? I doubt it. That would the only way to explain that he was, he has a couple $1 million in the bank just to pay off his, the secret layer underneath the shop that he has, the shop property, and the fact that that's probably commercial real estate. It must have some sort of tax to it, or at least if he's renting, it must be a high price tag. If he owns it, it's a different story. It would have been cool to see in this thing to get an idea of how he's making money, as if they just established, even with all it would be is just a sentence that he says that he maybe owns the building where he is, and he's renting out the top floor to renters, and that's where he's making his money. Everything's just kind of paying for itself, type thing. And I think that would make sense with a little bit of, tailoring that he does, which we never see him do it for anyone but Black Lightning and stuff. So, and then the ASA, they find his hideout. They go there and they start walking in around the woods. And one of the silliest things, it was so stupid in the way they did it in this episode. The ASA, their guys, or the SWAT team, are walking around the woods with these giant laser pointers on them, just pretty much saying, oh, here's me. And you could see them from all around the corner, all around the place. You could see exactly where they were. Thunder didn't have to look for them because their stupid laser pointers were just kind of brightly in the obvious. And I mean, come on, like it looks. No one walks around. They don't walk around with lasers like that nowadays, especially since it was night out. They probably have a secret, an infrared laser that doesn't come up to the naked eye, only comes up to them on their scopes, so that on their night vision goggles, so that no one can see it, so that the bad guy can't see them. I mean, you could see them coming from a mile away because their lasers are going everywhere. Like it looked like a bunch of kids with sparklers, at a campfire in a campground type thing. It looked kind of silly with that. I mean, I get the idea that they're going for and all that, but it makes no sense for them to do that. Now, if you're giving it from their angle, yes, maybe they just have the one dot type thing, but nowadays you don't need the stupid little laser pointers. It's all in the lens, in their night vision goggles, in their it's in the scope on the gun type thing. It was kind of silly because it looked like they were walking around pretty much with lightsabers hanging off of their may as well have had lightsabers hanging off of their gun type thing, because it was just big flags. Oh, here I am. So yeah, so then Jennifer ends up her powers end up going off, and I thought, oh yeah, she's gonna get super powered and they're gonna send her out. She's gonna not know how to control her powers, but just go out there and just start blasting people, and that would be really cool to see the three of them out there with powers. But no, she ends up charging up her father, Black Lightning, which is cool. And then I was hoping that she would go out there with them, help fight and stuff, but she didn't do anything with her powers. So it was cool seeing her charge up Black Lightning, recharging up her father and stuff. That was really interesting and stuff, but I would have loved to have seen her kind of go out and do some zapping. I mean, she did, after her mother shot some guy with the stuff, she did zap one guy, but that was about it. I would have liked to have seen her, maybe see Lynn get shot, just in the shoulder or somewhere easy, and then kind of, that's when Jennifer just loses it and just starts going crazy and just starts blasting through people and throwing people up in the air. And I think it would have been really cool to see her go full thunder, because full lightning type thing in the comic books, she doesn't have a costume. She's like always full lightning type thing. So I think it would have been cool to seeing that. Then rather than the way they did it here, just have her actually part of the fight rather than just kind of one of the victims type thing, one of the slowing them down. So it would have been cool to see her put something on. So then Black Lightning ends up saving Thunder when she gets trapped in one of the force fields and stuff. The whales end up going to the ASA and taking them all out. Takes out pretty much everyone, but Martin Proctor escapes, and as he's escaping, he goes for the briefcase, but he shoots he tries to shoot the handcuffs, and it doesn't break, and so he just leaves it and goes away. And so to me, it's just like he didn't have the time to just break that. Or another thing that would have worked, because the guy who the briefcase was attached to was dead, shoot the guy's arm, blow off the arm if it's that important. I mean, later on they show that Tobias Wales has that briefcase, but they don't show what it is. But to me, it's just like, how important is whatever it is? It must be to Tobias Wales. But it seems to me that Martin Proctor, since he ultimately did not take it. Yes, he tried, but he failed. But it wasn't worth trying even more for him. It wasn't worth his life at the end of the day. So it seems like Martin Proctor, whatever it was, would have been fine with letting Wales get it type thing. If Martin Proctor had survived, and because Gammy ends up killing him, if Martin Proctor had survived and gotten away, he would have been fine with leaving that whatever's in that briefcase for Wales to get. So it seems like it might be something that the ASA maybe has more of, or he has access to. So whatever it is, it's going to be cool to see what it is for season 2. I like the way things end with this, how it ends with not necessarily a cliffhanger, but still a cliffhanger. Like not a huge cliffhanger that's like, oh my god, I need to figure out what's happened, where they would have to give you some answers by, ending it in a comic book or something like that if they hadn't gotten to season 2. But it still ends within a way kind of like Batman and Joker, kind of, they're always going to be in the fight. It's Black Lightning and Tobias Wales, They're the Batman and Joker together, like Superman and Lex Luthor. They're always going to be in conflict. So I like that, the way they ended that. And it was a good idea, the way they did it. So there's not really there's no need for a season 2, but there's still an opening if you want to. It's not like a huge cliffhanger that, you're left going, oh, where's the answer? I need the answer. So I like the way they did that, and that was quite interesting with that. Now, because of that, it might be something that's going to be difficult, because it's only 13 episodes to wait for when the next show comes out. To remember what's going on and stuff, but luckily, since it's on Netflix, this show, it's a lot easier to just rewatch the last episode before. Now you can probably download. I'm pretty sure you can also download the episodes on Netflix, so you'll be able to just kind of rewatch it there and all that stuff before things come out. Because I find it difficult for other shows to kind of rewatch and remember where you're left off. But with it being on Netflix, you can keep it on your phone and all different stuff, and it's kind of cool to be able to watch that there. So I think this was a great, interesting idea. It was cool seeing Gammy kill Proctor rather than Anissa or even Jennifer. I would have liked to have seen Jennifer do that. Maybe she accidentally kills him, by mistake, not knowing how to control her powers, maybe just trying to use her powers and it kind of just blowing. Like, what would have been really cool is if she tried to pick him up like she did, but she kind of just blew a hole right through him. That would have been really, or she kind of eviscerated him. That would have been really cool. And she's just like, and it was just her emotions getting away from her. Because it's weird that she's all of a sudden able to kind of just knows how to pick him up type thing, knows how to do all that. She hasn't had any practice or anything like that. So, and I don't know why they didn't show up there. I mean, did they plan to kill him in the first place? Because they showed up there. I mean, they could have had just Black Lightning and Thunder show up, would have made sense. But showing up the whole Pierce family, and not wearing masks, like, what was their intention with that? Like, were they going there to kill him? I mean, maybe Gamby was, but I mean, it was kind of weird as to why they were there. So we'll have to wait and see where things go with this. Does Wales know that this briefcase, whatever's in there, is the one thing that'll take to save the metahuman kids that are in those pods? Does he know about that? What is it in there? That'll be fun to see what that is and how that kind of continues on, and how things are going to continue with the ASA. Are they going to come back to Freeland? How things are going to go with that? That'll be quite cool to see. And hopefully in season 2, it would be cool, since we did get some first episode of Black Lightning, there was that mention of other superheroes, other metas and stuff from the other cities. So it would be cool to see a crossover here and there between someone else who exists in in this world. I did hear Stephen Amell say that eventually he would assume that there would be some sort of crossover with Black Lightning, and I think that could be an interesting idea. Obviously with the different Earth, the way Supergirl does it all the time, just kind of jumping over and everything, could be quite fun. I'm hoping to see in season 2, the one thing I really want them to start off with would be Jennifer getting another chance for her powers, just full on using her powers, and not getting a costume. I don't want her to get a costume or anything like that. I don't want her to need a costume. I want it to be more like Human Torch, where her powers are the costume type thing, where she goes full flame on, let's going to call it, lightning on, whatever, and that'll be a costume. I want to see that. I see it being constantly on, and they can bring up the CGI budget so that she can be constantly CGI, not just when she's using her powers. Because we'll have to wait and see how that goes, but maybe she can get some sort of, not necessarily a costume, but something to do. But I still wanted her to be walking around completely CGI, just like Human Torch would be. Human Torch or Iceman or any of those characters who they don't have a costume, their powers are their costume type thing, and that's what I really can't wait to see for her, how they do that. They find a way to make her powers look like be the costume. So all in all, this season of first season of Black Lightning is an interesting season. To kind of compare it to some people, someone who hasn't watched it, I would probably compare it to a mixture between Luke Cage and the CW, like the Luke Cage and Marvel Defenders over on Netflix and stuff, compared to mixture with that and CW's Arrow, Flash, and those type of shows. So it's a bit of a mixture of both. It's clearly CW trying to recreate the Defenders and Luke Cage style stuff, but it doesn't really hit the mark on that type thing, because there's some tropes, that kind of CW tropes that are all over through it, that are just obvious, especially with like the lasers and on the guns and other things that were kind of the whole Gamby thing. That's not really well written out. Maybe it's just that's the way the guy is in the comics and stuff, and that's one thing that I said about Khalil walking again and stuff. That was kind of, it was a predictable outcome, but he is a character from the comics, and that's what someone commented on my videos before. So I agree with that. Since it is a character in the comics, I'll let it slide, and I like that, because I like when they keep it comic book accurate like that. So I'll have to wait and see. Maybe I need to read more about Gamby, but I'd like to see a little bit more, even just a one-liner of how he's able to afford all of this stuff. How is he paying for all the electricity and all the super duper expensive tech that he has, both at his workshop there, the tailoring suit place, and also at this backup hideout safe house that he has with all these guns. How is he affording all this stuff? We never see him doing any work. Obviously we don't need to see him doing anything, but it would just be cool as if, when people show up to talk to him, when Jennifer, Anissa, Lynn, whatever, Jefferson, and they show up at the place, as if he kicked out some customers. He's like, oh, please leave, or people were leaving as he was entering, type thing like that, just to show that, oh yeah, he is busy, he is doing a lot of stuff, and he's making a bit of money to put it towards it. So it would make sense if he was able to do that, but we don't see him doing that, and he spends most of his days just walking around, helping Black Lightning. So hopefully we can get those things answered in season 2. So all in all, I kind of like season 1 of Black Lightning. I guess it's a great, I think I wouldn't mind, I would recommend to someone just watching it on Netflix, since you can now binge watch the whole thing, rather than, I guess, necessarily watching it weekly. I mean, if you want to watch it weekly, watch it weekly. I do want to watch it weekly so I can review it, but otherwise I would just watch it when the season's over, all in one shot. But just because it's easier to do it that way. So all in all, I would recommend it. But if you're expecting to be like Luke Cage or anything like that, I would say Luke Cage is better. I would say Luke Cage is far better. This thing's had some kind of CW things that kind of and it kind of it doesn't have the budget clearly of Luke Cage or of Defenders or Daredevil or any of those things, and some of the things seemed a little bit other things are just not as well written as Luke Cage. But all in all, I do recommend it to, though. I did like it. Do I like it more than Flash, Arrow, or any of those things? Not so much. I guess it's its own thing. It's definitely its own genre. It's definitely different. But I'm excited for season 2. So let me know what you think, guys, about this season. Black Lightning season 1 and episode 13. And what do you think things are going to go for season 2? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.